the RE part 2 session. So in part 1, we had recorded the session on this one, like bot will extract the data from this one, from this Excel file. Suppose user is passing this input as like ID. If user is providing, then bot will search the corresponding data and it will display on the screen. So we had like automated this part. Excel part we had automated, like if user will provide, suppose I'm providing some input ID. Suppose here I'm providing 2, then it should fetch the record corresponding result. It will display in the message. Right now we have added the message box, but we have to create the AARI forms. So this result will be displayed on that AARI form. So you can see then to ID we got this result, name, address, and result field. Yeah. So let's start with the RE session. Let's close this one and let's go with the RE. So first step is like we have to get like the user input, right, as a student ID. For that we need to create a form. So in the form, user will provide their input, and after that our task bot will run and provide the corresponding data if the student ID will be found over there then. And the final result will be displayed on the RE form. So we have to create 2 forms. So first form where user will provide their input. So let's create the form. So for creating a form, we need to click here at second one, the right panel, and create form 1. Put the name student ID. Enter student ID. Okay, and I'll save this one inside RE2 folder. Okay, so let's provide the title of this form, user input, or we can say that student ID and the student ID. Okay, and then here we have to add a one text box so that user will provide their input. Just increase this one and provide the label name of this text box. Okay, and yeah, so here make this field required, yeah, and that's it. Save this one and close this one. Let's start with form. So there's a 2 way to create RE, like create automation on RE. So first is like go with the create a process, and second is like inside the task what we can call this form. So second portion also I'll explain in my next video. In this video, I'll explain how we can use this RE, how we can process this RE through this process. So let's create the process. And I'll say process RE. Okay, create this one and okay. So here the first step is like the process entry is like first we need to this always we need to create one form if you are going to use this process. So here in the start we need to browse that form which we had created. So enter student detail, okay, and the title we need to provide here like student ID, display student ID. Okay, and this task name is request creation. Okay, save. Let's run this one. How it is working? Okay, how form will look like. Yeah, see here and I'll enter 2 and click on the submit button. Okay, so first step is running fine. So always run your single step when you're adding. So the first step, the form creation is done. This is done. Student user input is done. So what is our next step? To call this task bot and provide this user input to the task bot, and this task bot will provide you the corresponding information. So we had already created this task bot, right? So we need to call this task bot inside this process. So in this, like we have to call the task bots. For that we have a bot task command here inside the process. We need to drag and drop this one, and here we need to provide the element name of this task. So let me provide the element name fetch record from task bot. Okay, and same name I'll provide here also, task name. Okay, and select that task. Okay, select the task. So I created this task here inside the array tool. Select this one, and the task name was read data from Excel. So select this task, and here in the task bot we need input from the user, right? So we had selected one, we had created one input type variable. So that was user input. Select this one, and we have to pass this input from this form, right? In the form we are getting the student ID. So that ID we need to pass in the bot task as input. So how we can select that? So just select checkbox, enable the checkbox, and click on this insert a variable. And from this one, we need to insert the variable to see. So here name is given like process and task. Okay, so we need to get the input from the process, not from task. We need to get the input from the process, and the process task name is request. How we can check what is the task name? Just go back here and see what is the task name of this form. Okay, so this form name is request creation, so we can easily find here the request creation, and we need to get the input from the request creation task. Okay, so just click over here, go there, and in the process you can see request is coming and input. So our variable type was input, so that is the reason we are selecting input, and we are getting the input from the user, right? So we need to select the input, and here we need to select the student ID. Okay, so this is the student ID text box, 0 position. So how we student ID, it is coming the name student ID. So that is the reason it is coming student ID. Then you are selecting here. See, again I'll show you student ID. Okay. So next step is, so here you can see like we got the user input, and we pass those input to the bot task. Bot task will check if that ID is there, then it will extract the information and will send back to the those information to this process. So what we need to do, we need to create one more form. So in that form we will display all the result, all the extracted result, right? So for that we need to create one more process. So just go back, save this process, and go back to your automation and create one more form where we can display all the extracted results. So I'll put the name as display all information. Okay, information. Okay, so let's put the form title name student student result. Okay, and inside this form, let's add the text box where we can show the extracted result, the name, address, student ID, and student result. So we need 4 box. Okay, so put the label name as this will be student ID. Okay, and make it uneditable because bot is showing the result. Okay, so that is the reason I'm putting uneditable. And second text box will be for name. Okay, student name. Again, it is we have to select this one, and third will be student address, and again select this one. So this uh, student result. Okay, whether result is pass or fail. Okay, so this one. Yeah. So now this form is ready. Let's go back to your process, and so this is our process. Ari, go back here, and so once you got the information, so remember, like in the bot task, we had added one flag value also. So that flag value will tell you like we got the information or not. Suppose if you are passing some employee ID and that employee ID is not inside the Excel file, so in that case, the flag value say like a flag value will be false, like record is not found in the Excel file. So we have to check that flag value also, which is coming from the bot task, whether it is true or whether it is false. If it is true, then only we have to call the form to where it will display all the information on the screen. So for that, we need to add if else condition. How we can check inside the if else condition. So see, so that flag value is output type variable in the bot task. So first we need to pass the task name here. Task name is validate information. Okay, and same thing and pass and display message. So here the type of that variable is string type. So I'll select this one. The source value is like coming from taskbar, right? And how we can check what is the task name? So you can check the task name here. Fetch report from taskbot. Okay, we had provided the fetch report task from the task. So this name we had provided. So same, we have to and that value, that variable is coming from this spot only. So this name we have to provide here in the source value. Okay, we have to select the inside the task fetch report from taskbot, and that variable type was output. The flag variable type was output, so that is the reason we are selecting output here. And see, fetch report from taskbot, and the variable name is flag report found. Okay, you can see here dot is coming. So before dot, your task name is coming. After dot, that variable name is coming. Add this one, and what is the value of that flag, whether it is true or false. So we are checking it is true or false. If it is true, then it will go inside here. If it is false, then it will go inside the else condition. Okay, so here we are if it is true, that means we have to display information on a screen to form true, right? So if it is true, then we have to come here. So we have to add that second form which we have created, where we will display all the information of the student with result. So for that, we need to call human task. So that is yes, human task we need to call here, and let's display that. Let's put the name, student result, and let's put the same name as a task name here, just without a space. Okay, and call that form display all information. So first form was enter student ID. In this form, uh, we are only putting the student ID, right? And here we are going to display all the information corresponding to this ID. Okay, and here, so see, if this condition will be true, then whatever data we had fetched against that employee, that student ID, we need to display here in the human task, right? So, so remember in that task board, all those variables were output type, right? So output type. So we need to assign those output variable into this feed data into form. Like if we will assign those variables here, then in that form it will display the same value. For that, just enable the checkbox student. We have to pass student ID value, right? So select the variable. Inside the variable, we have to like that value is coming from the task bot, right? So in the task bot, you can see the task bot name again. The task bot name is fetch record from task bot, right? So just select the fetch record from task bot, and that variable type was output type. 1 second. Yeah. So here student ID, and let me check if I have made any mistake here in the task bot. Let's go back to the task bot and let's check the data type. And so see, this is the name. Okay. So here we need to select as output. Then only it will display there. So here name also we have to select as output. Name is done. Address select as output. Then only it will come inside that process. And the third one is as output. See, once we once this condition is true, like user input is matching with the table row, then we are assigning the value, right? Student name, address, and result. So all three variables should be output type. So see, this is the output type. Student name is also output type, and student result is also output. Say this one, close this one, and go back to your process. Now you can select, you can pass inside the human task. You can just remove this one and go back here and select effects record. Inside the output, you can see all this output variable is coming here. Okay. So student name, select the student name. Sorry, let's delete completely and add student ID from this here. Student ID is not coming. Okay, so that student ID we are getting from the first form, right? The input form, and that is fetch record from the user input. See, okay, and second will be fetch record. Output is name. Okay, the student name is correct. Now address we need to pass. And fourth one is result we need to pass. Select and pass result. Okay, so see. So here in the student ID, we are in student, like we are getting the student ID from the form one, right? From the form one, the process entry, equally in the request creation task, we are getting the student ID. User is providing the input. The same input we are passing here in human task. Okay, in human task we are passing here in the first one, and the corresponding third three result, like the name, address, and result, we are fetching from this bot task. Okay, so here in the human task, once it will display on your screen all the information, then I'm going to add some buttons, like what will click over there on the button and it will close the form. Okay, so let's add the button submit, or we can say that uh, yeah, submit button. Let's add some submit button, and the button style will be I'll choose the primary. Okay, let's check. Yeah, the error is gone. Save this one and let's run our bot. So you can see the first is where we are putting the input, like we are giving the input as student ID. In the second, we are checking that student ID is available in the Excel file or not. If it is available, then we are extracting the corresponding information from Excel sheet, and here we are displaying all the information on screen. Okay, so let's run and see if it is working or not. Save this one and run. So first step, it will ask you the ID, yeah, student ID. So let me provide the student ID free and click on the submit button. Okay, you can see the request creation is successfully done, And second is like fetch record from taskbot. So now it is fetching the record from the taskbot. So see bot run, bot is running, and the task name was read data from Excel. Okay, so it has happened here. Let me run once again. Okay, let me run once again. I'll enter 3, submit. Yeah, again it is running task for, let's see if it will, yeah, it opened the Excel file. Now it will search, and yeah, see, you can see we entered the 3 ID and bot fetch the record against this 3 ID. 3 ID is there in the Excel file, so bot fetch the name, address, and result. So now this information bot will display in form, RE form. Yeah, you can see student name is coming here. We cannot edit because I enabled the option uneditable in the form, right? So student ID, it is displaying here, student name is displaying here, student address is displaying here, and student result. So you can click on submit and it will close. It is completed. Your task is completed. Okay, so let's pass some other value. So okay, let's pass some other value. Let me disable the message box here in the taskbot. I'll go here and I'll disable this message box so that I cannot get this data. I'll disable this one. Let's go back. Let's run one time. The process sorry. I'll enter this, some different employee ID. Yeah. Enter. Let me enter one student ID and check if it's there or not. The student ID is there or not in the Excel file. The first form is executed successfully. Second is like fetch record from the taskbot. So one Vedika and Varanasi, it will give you the answer. Yeah, you can see student ID 1, student name Vedika, student address Varanasi, and student result is pass. Submit. So here the task bot and the form R is working fine. The question is closed. So like I explained this through process creation, like we created the process and here we call the forms and human task and our task bot. There's another way to like use this form, call this form. So that is, I'll show you in the task bot. Directly we can create a task bot. Inside the task bot, we can directly call the forms. How we can do that? For that, we have an interactive command here. Yeah, you can see interactive forms. So by using these features also, we can directly call those forms from this taskbar. So in our next recording, I'll explain same thing through this interactive forms command. So in that case, we are not going to use process. In that case, only we will use this taskbar. From the taskbar itself, we'll call the forms multiple times. Okay. So by using this command. So as of now, I'm going to end this session. Thanks for your support.